Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the weekly Poker Showdown brought to you by Party Poker. I'm your host, Jamie Staples. This is a pretty incredible episode. It's one of those moments for me personally where it's like, wow, did that really just happen? These two special guests, I imagine, is why most of you are tuning in. There might be a few new listeners and viewers of the podcast. What's up, everyone? I am having Rob Yong, the man behind so many of the changes in the direction of Party Poker on the show. But I think perhaps more well-known in the wide world, Kevin Hart, comedian, entertainer, superstar. So amazing to talk to these two guys about poker. I mean, they play in the same circle of games, some of the high-stakes games. So to speak to someone I've seen on my TV screen and talk about him playing these poker games and realize how passionate he is, it's just a great opportunity. So without further ado, enjoy the conversation with Rob Yong and Kevin Hart. Joining me on the podcast today, I have two very special guests. The first, you probably know if you follow poker at all. He's the man moving Party Poker and poker in general in the right direction. That's Rob Yong. Rob, thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
No problem. Yeah.
And the second needs no introduction, but in case you've been living under a rock for 15 years, he's an actor, he's a producer, he is a stand-up comedian, financial and physical health ambassador somehow, covers both of those things. But most importantly for our conversation today, an avid poker player and the newest member to Team Party Poker. That's Kevin Hart. Kevin, welcome to the team.
Oh, man, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
So I wanted to start off and ask you, how did you find the game of poker, and what is it about poker that you enjoy?
What is about poker that I enjoy?
Yeah.
All right, well, you're going to get a nice little lengthy answer. I think the first thing that I like is the connectivity. Poker, yes, it's a game where, of course, gambling can be involved, but it doesn't have to be. It's what I like to call a community sport. Even though there's not a lot of athleticism that's involved, it's something that gives you the opportunity to connect, communicate with people that you may know or not know. And if you do know the people that you play with, it acts as a service that brings you guys closer. If it's people that you don't know, it acts as an education and lifestyle and heritage and race. It checks so many boxes just because the conversations at a poker table are beyond intriguing and are for a reason, and whether it's male, female, old, young, it really has no strict identity. It has no necessary needs that have to be fulfilled to play. It's one of those things that anybody checks the box. And that's what I like about it. I like that it disarms you of feeling like you don't belong or can't belong. Any and everybody can belong. And that's what makes it a great thing for myself. That's what makes it an even better thing for me to attach myself to, because I do it on the highest level, but also to the lowest level. You know what I mean? Like, right. This is a way where me and my kids spend time being silly and playing for candy, playing for late night movie picks. It starts with a hold'em game that we do with pennies. Like it's everything to me and for me. So that's why I said it's a long answer. I can't give you just a simplistic version.
No, I think it's great. I mean, I'm feeling that a little bit, that brings people from different circumstances together. I feel that right now having a conversation with you two gentlemen. I mean, from vastly different areas of life. It's a little pinch myself moment having this conversation. So having fun. Rob, how did you get to know Kevin Hart? How did you guys meet?
Just through mutual friends. Like, Kevin had a boxing match with a friend of mine, Antonio Estefari. He lost. Don't want to remind me about that. How did you lose to Antonio? I was with Antonio the week before, and he said he'd never had a fight in his life, not even on the school playground.
Well, so you can't say that I lost to Antonio, because you have to give clarity for people that don't know the bets.
I watched the fight, man. I mean, he won on points.
Well, in this poker community, there's a lot of prop bets and a lot of silliness that takes place. I gave Antonio 35-1 that he could. Okay, and basically the reason why is because Antonio has no athletic bone in his body. There's no way that Antonio will beat me on any given Sunday. So he agreed to it. After agreeing to it, what we did was I gave him 7 months. He got 7 months to train. He went and got himself a trainer, and he basically worked every day.
Audley Harrison used, the English guy, yeah.
Yes, I'm not training for a fight with Antonio. I can already box. I can already fight. And what Antonio did was put an amazing strategy together. So he didn't come to box or fight me. He came to basically wear me out. So what he did was hug me.
He's smart. He's too smart, Antonio.
He put an amazing strategy together.
So I want to touch on the Party Poker partnership and figure out how this came to be. So Kevin, why did you decide to jump on board with Party Poker?
Because Rob's a genius in my mind. You know, I love entrepreneurship, man. I love people that see ground and step up to the challenge of possibly breaking ground, right? Like it's one thing to see things and be okay with it never changing. And it's another thing to say, you know what, I think I can probably do it bigger and do it better because there's a bigger side to it. I'm going to put a different definition on poker, and I want to put a different understanding to it because I feel like that understanding has been lost. And the world of poker that's been marketed and promoted has gotten very complicated for your individuals that may not play at that level. You know,
right.
If everything seems like a math problem or everything seems like, I guess you could say a robotic experience, then it doesn't seem like a good time. And when you're talking about the fun that's in the game, well, it should be highlighted to some degree. And I like Rob's will and want to show that. I like the idea of putting the party in poker because that's what it is. It's a good time. And
meant to be fun, isn't it?
What'd you say?
Meant to be fun, isn't it?
It's meant to be fun.
Meant to be enjoyable.
It should be fun. It should be enjoyable. And for me, I think that's the thing that attracted me the most because that's what I am. I'm fun. I'm a good time. And that's why I play the game. So to have the opportunity to drive that message at a very high level, to have that opportunity to get people to come online, be a part of something, be a part of it fun and be open and engaging, especially on a side of discussion, conversation, back and forth. That's what community is. And that's what platforms should be built around. And that's what I feel Party Poker is. And that's what it has. So I can say for Rob and what he's done in getting it to the stages that it has, he's done an amazing job. And I know it's not just Rob. Rob has an amazing team with him. But for me to now join and be a part of that world, it's about achieving new levels. It's about making more and new accomplishments in the months and years to come to hopefully have this become one of the biggest and best party poker sites or poker platforms that exist.
Awesome.
I mean, it's difficult because sometimes doing the right thing costs you money.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get rid of the technology that these players are using, you lose their rate, you lose their business, you lose their liquidity. It's difficult decisions. When you decide to say it's not fair for a professional player to re-enter a tournament 10 times because a regular guy can't afford it, you know, you lose those 10 entries against the guarantee. So it's really tough to have a business model where you're trying to do the right thing. But in the long run, the right thing always wins, in my opinion. So it's kind of difficult. I mean, you know, Kevin's not going to sit there with all this computer technology and play online. He hasn't got time, you know.
I don't see Kevin as like the math guy with the charts up and the spreadsheets. I don't think that's him. I don't know. I don't get that sense.
No, I don't have the spreadsheets. I'm the personality guy.
How long have you been playing for now, Kevin? 5 years, 6 years?
I don't like to tell people because I don't want people to think I'm good.
Who's better between you two? If you two play, who's better?
If I say anything about poker publicly, I'm the worst poker player ever. That's all you have to hear me say. I'm the worst poker player ever. No, look, Rob and I are cut from the same cloth when it comes to the game. You know, our challenge is the same as anybody else's. It's you want to beat the table, and that doesn't mean that you have to be the best at the table to beat the table. It means that you do things differently. And Rob definitely is a guy that shakes things up and that comes with a completely different agenda than most. And personality for me is very much key. It's a tool, it's a weapon, and it's something that can be assumed to be comfort when ultimately is strategy. So I think that the guys that are able to laugh and have a good time on a consistent basis at the table are guys that are gonna come out on a brighter side, especially within the group that we play.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
are you missing any of the guys, or I'm even missing JLB.
Yeah, I am. I am. I'm missing
I
some of
never
our
thought
group.
I'd say I'm missing JLB. I'm even missing JLB.
I'm missing some of our group. I
Yeah,
definitely
it's crazy. I was chatting to Eddie last night. He's like, he needs to get out of the house. Like, everyone's like, everyone's itching to play, but obviously it's tricky, isn't it? I guess you could have like, I was asking like the guys, when do you think we're going to play again? And they were saying, oh, soon, soon. I was saying like, how? And they said we could have a doctor that tested everybody. I mean, do you think that works? You walk into the poker room, doctor tests you for 5 minutes, you're okay, and then you can go in and play poker. What do you think? I mean,
uh I mean, first of all, the fact that I just heard you say you miss JRB, I'm still trying to get past that because that's the first time that I think anybody has ever said that to JRB or about JRB in life. What's the last part? Tell me the last sentence you said. I want to
would
make
you
sure.
play poker? Would you go to a poker game now if there was a doctor at the game and he tested everybody before we played?
Yeah, I mean, look, here's how I feel. I mean, I personally think that this is something that we should be taking serious, right? But there's a balance as well. You want to make sure that you're in safe environments. But on a day-to-day basis, when we do get the green light to go out, there's not a machine that we carry in our backpack or our pocket. And before interacting with an individual, you pull it out and say, wait, let me give you a test to make sure I can talk to you. Like there's going to have to be a level of effort that's put in to get back to normalcy. And normalcy is being okay with just being out. Like we're people and we're not robots. So as people, we interact and engage with one another. That's what we do. That's what life is. That's what life is about. It's hard to do anything outside of that. So I don't see myself becoming robotic with is everybody tested? Is everybody in there free or safe? Like I'm going to have to
imagine Big L, Mike.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to go and be okay with it. You know what I mean? And even if I'm not as okay as I should be, you're going to have to learn to be again. Like I want to go to a concert again. I want to perform for a crowd of 15 to 18,000 people. I want to sit at a poker table and be around a table with 8 other individuals and interact. I like poker rooms. I want that to happen. So, I know that there's like talk of glass settings that were being set up at the Win or something. You know what I mean? For them to have.
I wouldn't do that, would you? I'm not doing that.
No, it's like I don't want to sit and knock on the glass to ask somebody to
just call someone up, like let them know.
My chip. Hey, can you call C8? He can't hear me. I'm in glass 3. I don't want. That's not why I play the game.
It's terrible for you because from the start, when a game, Kevin's the first guy out of a game and the last guy to leave, and he talks the whole way through. So if you put Kevin in like a glass thing,
I don't know. There's no way. There's no way that I'm going to survive or last.
Okay.
What have you been doing during lockdown? I imagine this is not a particularly normal time for you in your life. So what has life been like while you've been locked down at home?
I mean, you know what? You find that the things that matter most are the things you grab onto. My relationship with my wife and my kids is unreal. I mean, we're closer than we've ever been. Talking more, spending more times, understanding more of one another. Yes, do you want to get back to work? Of course, but I told you, I'm a firm believer that things happen for a reason. And the reason behind this is still hot. It's unknown, but maybe we needed this as people. Maybe we needed a massive reset button. Maybe the economy needed to get punched in the face, and the world needed to get a major eye opener for us to go, okay, let's get back to it. Let's now step back out, but be better. Let's be more loving. Let's be more conscious of our health.
I completely agree. It's like it's brought communities together. I mean, like I closed my casino straight away, and we opened my casino kitchen for the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been basically cooking food and delivering it around my city to all the homeless people for the last like 60, 90 days.
Huge.
My girlfriend's been doing it, and it makes you do things like that. My girlfriend's been delivering to the kids and people and just helping, and like people have been helping as well. The way so everyone's been helping each other, which I've not seen for a long time.
I think that's a massive thing, man. And you're truly showing the bonus. You're showing the bonus in humanity, you know? And I think that is a contagious spirit that people will grab onto and gravitate towards. So I think you're gonna hear about more of that. You're gonna see that. And it also shines a light on people that are in less fortunate situations to make people aware. Like we need to really understand what the dynamic is within society of people that have and people that don't. And if there's a significant gap, we need to be aware of that so we can figure out how to help close it, how to help put people in a situation where they're not always figuring it out, you know, or worried about that next meal. This is something that's a global problem, but when you look at look at the global amount of money that's been raised. I mean, you got hundreds of millions of dollars that have been raised on behalf of world hunger. And if we're raising that for that, then what can be initiative that's taken to providing and giving a sense of stability? If we did this for hunger, then what can we do for this? How do we continue to try to close that gap outside of situations where there is no pandemic? You know, when it's just when we're back to normalcy. How do we do it then?
A pandemic to make us all care, should it?
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. People are going to slowly start to be conscious of and think about, you know?
It has forced us to change, though. Like you said, it's pushed us into a spot, and you can see the upside of how we're going to adjust and these differences that we're viewing. So what differences in our culture as we return back to normal do you think we're going to see? Like what's going to be different about poker, you know, next year when the coronavirus is hopefully in a better place? Are we going to play the game differently? Are we going to be shaking hands with people? Like what's going to change?
I mean, I'm not changing. I'm not changing within how I move. I think my personal cleanliness is just something I'm more conscious of. You know, make sure you wash your hands.
Yeah, what the sanitizer.
Yeah, you know, you got some sanitizer. But I don't see myself losing the potential to meet new and speak to new. And by new, I mean people. The world is so big, and you learn from being around. You learn from conversation, from experience. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I told you earlier, that's what poker gives you. Poker gives you so much of that. You can sit down at the table and randomly somebody goes, I just got back from Indonesia. And they don't have to be talking about the most elaborate trip or moment. It can be from anything, but you get a high lesson on Indonesia. Or you can have somebody say, oh my God, man, my kid's taking this test. They're giving these kids tests to see what their IQs are. My kid is 5. You go, at the age 5, where are they doing that and why'd you do it? He can give you a piece of information to take back to your household that you go, honey, did you know that you could? These are all conversations that happen there that are very random, but also very much informative. Like this is, I don't think I'm going to get to a space to where I'm like, whoa, don't touch me. Don't talk to me.
Right. Right.
Now I do want you to cover your fucking mouth if you sneeze. I do want you to, you know.
Are we gonna see any bows from Kevin Hart? Is it gonna be a handshake, or are you gonna go bow?
But if I got to sneeze, I'm not. I don't think I'm doing a hit you at a table. I'll make sure I probably get up, turn around, step away. A sneeze is definitely frowned upon now.
The thing about poker is we're all close together, Kevin, aren't we? I mean, there's no 2 meter rule in poker. It's not possible unless me and you played heads up. That 30 situation where it would be 2 meters.
Mm-hmm.
So when do you think the first cash game is going to be with like me, you, Robull, JRB, whatever, Antonio?
I think it'll be a house game. I think we'll do it at a home, and then go to the next stages or steps. I think there has to be a sense of comfort and comfortability between the guys, because we do got some older guys.
Would we have like a doctor there and get everyone tested before we played, or would we just sit down together, do you think?
I think you just sit down, man. I think that, doing like getting everyone tested and going through that thing. Have we all been in quarantine? Has everybody been there? Yes, I have. Can everybody raise their hand and say that they have? Okay. Do we feel like we're safe? I think you have to be responsible and be an adult. If you're feeling a little weird, then you should voice that. Say that. And
you think the first cash game will be when? 7 people around a table.
I think going into June. I think going into like that June time.
Okay. I was going to set the line in September, but June. That's an early call.
You said September?
I was going to set the line in September.
Well, we can't see each other because we're all spaced out. So, there is no travel. I'm saying September's a long time.
I mean, you've got enough people in LA to have.
I think in LA we could probably try one in, that July time. That July, August. Like when you're in that summertime, I think you could. I think you could. I don't know, but then again, we got a lot of older people too that play. So I would say for that, we would probably want to wait until you get the green card. You know what? Let me retract. I just remember that we got a lot of people that are on the older side, and I think should be a little more conscious of their health. So I will retract. If there were younger individuals like just myself, my age, Rob's old, so not Rob's old. Then I would say maybe try. But you know what? We're dealing with some older people, so maybe you wait. Maybe you put the time limit on it and actually wait it out.
Rob, I want to ask you, why did you bring Kevin on board to Team Party Poker? Why did you think he was the right guy to sort of push the metric forward?
Because everyone said Kevin's the best ambassador, best partner in the world to have before I met him. Everything you stand for about fairness, making poker fun, Kevin would be an ideal fit for that. And then obviously we didn't like sit down. I don't think we ever sit down and discuss, do you want to like help out with Party Poker? Kevin just said, it was just like a natural type of thing to do because we kind of mix in the same circles and he believes the same things that I do. And when I'm at the poker table, a lot of people say to me, asking me questions about Party Poker, why'd you do this? Or I saw this on Twitter, blah, blah, blah. And obviously Kevin gets a flavour of what we're trying to do is be as level the playing field as much as possible. So it's kind of like a joint thing rather than Kevin asking me or me asking him. It's just a good fit, because I don't think Kevin would ever play a game where he knew he had an advantage over somebody for some other reason apart from just sitting at the table.
Yeah.
You want to win fair and square, don't you, Kevin?
Exactly. I think that messes the game up. You know what I mean? I think that takes away from the game, having a equal opportunity where everybody is on the same level. Everybody's starting out the same. That's the fun side of it, you know. Playing with a wizard, as they call it. It takes the fun out. I don't want to play with a robot. I don't want to play a mechanical game.
Yeah, it's like some of the even live pros will take like 3-4 minutes to make a decision to try and get a read on like a non-pro. You know, every tactic they can to try and win. You know, that's not going to get people into the game. They should, you know, people shouldn't do that. So there's lots of things about poker that's fantastic. The fact that when Kevin's like 80 years old, he's going to be able to still play poker. I mean, what other sport can you play at that age? But
it's the only sport that you can play that's evergreen.
Yeah, and Kevin,
all your life.
Yeah, you can sit next to the world champion, and you don't have to be as good as him. Whereas in tennis, you have to get to the final to play him. So poker's like unique, but it can get because it's money involved. You can get a few angle shooters in there, or people trying to get an unfair advantage of a situation. And
right,
you know, I definitely think Kevin stands for none of that.
So what's the solution then for party poker? Like, what sort of things are changing, and do you want to change to bring the fun back and make it more of a level playing field?
I can tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be an example of it. You know, I think giving people the opportunity to play with me is definitely a lot of fun. Like I said, I love the opportunity to interact, engage. That just makes the game fun. Communicate the little things of trash talking, you know, at a table. That makes the game fun. Getting people that don't necessarily know about the game to give the game a try. Figuring out ways to engage, interact with people outside of the poker community, just like you are inside the poker community. You want the game to get bigger. You want it to grow. Nothing should stay complacent. You know what I mean? You always want to progress. You don't want to digress. You want to keep going. You want to keep moving forward. So the only way for it to grow is for people to get some interest in it and understand about it. And that's a job of mine, to make people truly understand what separates party poker from the rest of the pack, why it's different, and what we are focused on. And that's the people. When you're people conscious, you're in a much better position than most, because you care about the consumer. You care about the people that are engaging in the platform. And ultimately, when they are the priority, that's when you win.
Right.
You win by making people the priority. If you don't come support and have fun, then I'm not doing my job. This game is fun, and let us show you how and why. The tournaments that are available, the different things that they're doing that are random, the giveaways, these are all things that you show. It's for you. We want to separate ourselves. Here's how we're doing.
I personally couldn't imagine ever stopping playing poker. I mean, what about you, Kevin? Do you think you'll ever quit?
No shot. No shot.
I'll be playing until I'm dead.
No shot. No shot.
Yeah. So, like, when you do get the poker bug, I mean, it stays with you. I don't know how you feel about that, Jamie. Do you think you'll play for the rest of your life, or?
For sure, 100%. Yeah, to the end.
That's what I mean. So it's actually a great game, isn't it? It's a wonderful game, and Kevin makes a point. You can sit down next to the world champion. You have a chance to beat him. You know, it's a wonderful game. My dad goes to my casino until coronavirus every single night, and he's 82 years old. And looking at the cards has kept his mind working. So it's a wonderful game, but it's been blurred by all these sharper tactics that have been going on, and it's taken the fun out of the game. And I think if you really love the game, you kind of want to do something about this. But you're always fighting against you're fighting against a lot of people who are making money out of the game being robotic, and so you're kind of saying to people, you're taking people's living away.
Right.
So like when we banned the software on the site, so you can't use the poker HUDs. We effectively, people who were experts using HUDs, we took their living away, didn't we?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we're actually to do the right things, difficult decisions. We're actually punishing people who have been allowed through no fault of their own to use these systems to try and get an edge when we say you can't. I mean, I think in party definitely they'll restrict the number of tables that you can play. When you make all these changes for the good of the recreational player, the pro's going to suffer. So it's difficult, you know.
Right.
But in the long run, the pro wins because there's more recreational players in.
Yep.
Like it's like a curve you've got to go through. It's a bit like coronavirus. In poker, we have to go through some pain, unpopularity, and then when we come out of it, pros will be happier because they'll have a more level playing. The recreationals will be happier, and everyone wins in the end. But going through that process is very difficult, you know. And I think Kevin uses a great example. You know, going through the pain for the long-term good of the game is what we need to do, but it's very expensive. You know, I mean, we're going to do the World Online Poker Championships in July, and we're not going to allow all these unlimited re-entries and all this type of formats that the other sites use. We could lose a lot of money with the guarantees. We're guaranteeing 100 million,
which is insane, by the way. That's absolutely insane.
Making these tough decisions and saying, actually, we're gonna level the playing field. It does piss a lot of people off. You know, a lot of people want the playing field to not be level.
Well, it's because it's what you know, right? It's your living. It's what you're good at. But you know, it's not sustainable. It's not going to work. You know, if people like Kevin Hart aren't having fun playing online poker, to me, it seems like Kevin has fun doing a lot of things. So we've got a problem, you know, if it's not fun for a guy like Kevin Hart. So I like the direction and the change going forward. It has to, you know, it's not going to survive forever. So
no, it's what you want. You want it. I mean, look, I can't say this enough. This is the only comparison I can give it. You know, I produce a lot of TV. You know, I'm now producing movies as well. And if you do that, and you do it for one particular, you know, space, well, eventually that space gets a little crowded, and you're like trapped. This is it. This is all we've done, and we've never thought about the outside of this. But the world outside of this space is so massive that if I produce something that the people outside of this space can love too, then it grows and grows and it goes all over, right? So as a talent, my goal was to get global. My goal was to be universal. If it was just to be domestic, well, that's not a long race. I'm going to get to that finish line, and when I do, then what? What do I do after? It's almost as if you're blind to there being water and there being things on the other side of that water. I want to get over there. And now that I've gotten over there, it's opened up this massive pool of opportunity that can continue to go and go and go and go and go, because you're now servicing on a high level. So with poker, I use that analogy to say that there's one particular space that poker's been in. You want it to grow. If it keeps growing, you got something that no matter where you are in the globe, that you have access to, that you love doing, that you can identify with anybody else. This is a language that you all get to speak together. That to me is the dopest thing in the world. That to me is what makes poker special. I don't care if you speak English or not. You know the flop, you know the turn, you know the river.
Universal.
You know check, bet. You know that. We're speaking the same language, whether we like it or not. That's the beauty of this. And there's not many things like this that you can point to. Look at basketball. Look at how much bigger the game of basketball has gotten since the global exposure. Look at how much bigger basketball has gotten. I mean, there was a while where the NBA, all right, yeah, we got the greatest players in the world. It wasn't until the Olympics started highlighting more and more all the other countries that were playing. Okay, now there's justification behind the best players in the world because the game is done all over the world.
Right.
Hence, basketball just keeps getting bigger and bigger. The game is massive in China, massive overseas. It's a huge thing. NBA games are now being played in London on a regular. People don't even realize that. Like this is a conscious effort by the league to continue to make the game more global. Those games are going to be played in China more, in France more, because they want everybody to identify with it. There should be no difference for poker.
I'm trying to think whether there's another game like poker where you can compete with the best in the world, and you might never have played again. I mean, Kevin can't go and play a basketball match in the NBA tonight, but he can go and sit next to the world champion and play at poker.
That's true. That's true.
And you have a chance to beat him. You're not going to beat him much, but sometimes you will. Sometimes a few hands.
Yeah, and you do have a chance. Whereas if Kevin goes and plays against Roger Federer, he's got zero chance.
Zero.
If he goes and boxes against Antonio Estefari, he's got zero chance.
Till this day, I call him a bitch. Can't believe you wrestled me.
Kevin, when you're playing at the table, what's your play style? How do you play poker? The actual game.
I'm not a bitch. I think that's the best way. I think that's the best way to describe it. Like, I think in poker, depending on who, what, especially with us and the level that we're playing at, getting people off hands, getting people to move or to budge based on set amounts, active strategies for some. Being okay with a win or a loss is a hell of a weapon to have in your back pocket. The person that can lose a hand and go, damn, good one, you got me.
Yeah, Kevin's the first guy at the game waiting, even if he's had a big loss the previous night. You never get down about losing, do you?
No. It's fun for me. I'm not a bitch. I'm not afraid to play the game. And I'm not afraid to rub elbows with whomever. And, I'm not an idiot. I think they know that. So my style, I don't even want to highlight what my style is.
You're keeping it secret. Come on, give us something here. Give us a...
My style is the ability to show up wherever, whenever, and be comfortable. I'm never out of place.
What do you like more, PLO or Hold'em?
Hold'em.
We played PLO in LA. You seem to like PLO.
I can play PLO. I'm getting better at PLO, but Hold'em. PLO is more of a, I think it's coming in. I think it's an attractive game to the people that want action, love action.
I don't find it relaxing, PLO, because you're playing every hand, aren't you?
So much.
You've got to look at the phone, do some work,
So much.
Yeah.
You're in a little more control in Hold'em.
Yeah, you got your ace queen. You don't need to get stacked off. For PLO, you hit a flush draw and a set.
So much going on.
Your money's all going in.
So much going on in PLO. So much going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I prefer Hold'em for a long session and probably PLO for a short session.
Well, the discipline in PLO is being able to fold four houses and second nut flushes with no problem. That's the discipline that comes in PLO. With being able to say, no, he's got it. Even when you have it, knowing that you don't have the it. There's three different its that exist in PLO. You got the it, the it, and then you got the it. being able to fold or get off of those things, I think that's where the game is most intriguing and better. It's just having that ability.
But the one thing about PLO is when you get your money in on the flop, you've always got a chance, haven't you? Sometimes on Hold'em you can be just dead, can't you?
I think so. And I just think, like you said, with the Hold'em side of it, you're just in more control. It's more of an understanding of where you are, and where your opponent is, and on which street you improved or didn't improve. that's where the knowledge, I think, is a little more easier to obtain rather than on the PLO side. Yeah, tournaments are fun.
Do you prefer tournaments? Like if you could play a 24 person with just your friend tournaments, would you choose that over cash games, or do you like cash more?
Depends on the lineup for our cash games
Mm.
versus the tournament. There's some of our games that can get unbelievable where you're like, oh my God, this is like the best lineup in game ever. And it'll never happen again. And it depends on the field and the timeline of the tournament. If I could choose, do I want to play a 3-dayer over a amazing cash game? Probably not, depending on what the field is for the 3-dayer. And if all of my friends from the cash game say they're going to play in the tournament, then it's something that we're all doing together. I think it becomes more fun. There's ways for the tournaments to be experiences that we all do together, trips that we all take together, and they can act as leisure, from dinners and entertainment to the tournament to possible cash games after. Like there's ways for it all to make sense.
I think we could do a nice tournament though, Kevin. Kevin Hart Invitational. Like
I would do that because I've never done one. I would do it.
And invite everybody, and I think it'd be quite fun to have like all the cash game players. Obviously, we can't let Robo play; he's too good. And we all play a tournament together. I think that's a good thing. I mean, Big Al did well, but in the £1 million buy-in, Big Al made the final.
Yeah.
That was impressive. I had to last longer with him. Like, unfortunately, he made the final. I was hoping he was going to bust, but I mean.
I'm definitely playing the next one. I told you that. I'm definitely playing in the next one. When is the next one?
You're asking me a difficult question. When are we going to be allowed to fly anywhere?
That is true.
I mean, it was supposed to be in London. It was supposed to be a 300,000 buy-in tournament in London in August. We were all supposed to be going to London, but I mean, realistically, is anyone going to be able to fly into London in August? I'm not sure.
Well, I think that once we do come out of it, it's a way for us to look and see, what the way of the world is and how people are. But we definitely have to put one on the table, when we do. So, and I think
together after this. So,
yeah. In these private games that you guys are playing, I asked Rob this a little bit earlier, and I'm just curious because it's such an interesting world that people don't get to peer into. Do you have like a nemesis or someone that you play against that just always has got you, like you're always in pots? Do you have a guy like that, Kevin?
With me? Yeah. Rob.
He always moans that I beat him in pots, but it's not true.
Rob.
Rob, I can't win a hand against you, blah, blah, blah. Who would you like to stack all their chips and makes you feel better most out of everybody we play with?
I mean, you know what? Nobody holds over me like a significant amount. You know what I mean? Like beating Antonio is always fun.
Yeah. Catching Antonio would be nice.
Beating Antonio is fun. Stacking Antonio is always a good time. And shockingly, we have a record that's actually pretty close in battling, within our back and forth.
Yeah.
I would say him, or who else? Beating JRB is always fun.
Yeah, because you're going to get the talk afterwards, don't you?
It's never not fun stacking JRB. That conversation afterwards is always great. The non-stuttering, head rubbing, that's always great.
Always. Yeah, I think JRB is one of my favorites to stack because he'll be really quiet for like 30 seconds and you think he's not going to react. And then it'll just explode.
Come out. Then it just comes out.
So yeah, JRB is a good one. Yeah, you kind of want to stack the people that are gonna blow up really, or the
Exactly.
guys that really like to beat you. Um,
That list is long. It's a long list. It's a long list.
When you guys play, let's say you're playing against a pro, do you guys like playing against the best, or do you like more of a level playing field?
Nobody. I mean, who wouldn't want a level playing field, especially for high games? You want a level playing field. I think keeping it to where that number is controlled.
Mm.
Maybe one. Uh, the high level pro in the game. But if it was the ones that make sense, like I said, playing with bots is no fun. So the personality and the fun side of that plays a major factor and a key component in that. You know, the ones that get allowed to play, I think in our games or with it. So it's a very few number, not a lot, and I think rightfully so. I kind of like it the way it is.
yeah, there's not many pros that get to play in these high stakes games really.
No,
Maybe maybe Roble Antonio. I can't think of anybody else.
that's it. We
That's it
used to
really.
call JRB a pro. We stopped.
Yeah, we can't categorize him as a pro.
Yeah, we stopped.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's good to. I mean, we had the Rob's home game on Poker Go when a lot of the guys came and played. Kevin couldn't be bothered to turn up, but Rick Solomon played, and people were. He's like the biggest celebrity now in cash game poker. People watched how Rick plays, and they
Yeah,
were like astonished.
they're blown away.
Yeah, and he plays like that all the time. He wasn't just doing that for the TV.
No, they'll be blown away by what Rick does.
Yeah,
He's one
and
of
he does it well.
he's
You know,
one of one for sure.
yeah, he's got a unique style. Never moans when he loses, and he just he really loves the game again.
Right. It seems like such a fun game. Kevin, I want to ask you a piece of advice for the audience out there. You're an actor, right?
Mhm.
So you're used to putting on an emotion. So do you have any advice for people that need to put on a poker face? What's your approach? You're bluffing the river against Rob. He's got your goat. What's your poker face advice? How do you rein it in?
I'm bluffing, Rob. That's what I say. I'm gonna make a bad bet here. I'm gonna make a bad bet. I'm bluffing. I feel being honest is better about it. So it's an easy call for you, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Now Rob has a decision to make. Am I fucking with him or not? And if he does make a call and it's a bluff and he picks me off, I go, see, I told you. And then he laughs. Or next time is at the setup for the 3 hands later where I do the same thing. It's bigger amount and he calls. I just so happen to have it. Every move sets up the move after the move. It's not about the first.
Now you're talking like a pro with this balancing and.
I said I gotta stop talking. I don't want to say too much. I gotta be.
I actually remember the last time Kevin bluffed me. It was at the Win, and that's not true. He went all in, and he's on the river, and he said, "I'm doing you a favor here by betting a lot." And I said, "Call," and he said, "You idiot, good hand." So not actually telling the truth there, but how can you call there with bottom pair? That's ridiculous.
I actually am a pretty good bluffer, though.
Yeah.
I actually am a pretty good bluffer when I decide to do it. The acting plays a major part.
Who do you think's the best kind of celeb Hollywood player? Like you got Tobey Maguire, Leonardo, Bruno Mars, these types of guys that are interested in poker. Who do you think's the best, Kevin? Toby the best.
Leaving myself out.
Yeah, leaving yourself out. Yeah. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Who's the best?
I think they would all say me. I just thought about it. Yeah. Yep. I just thought about it, man. I'm probably the best. I don't want to be, but I probably am. Bruno's a lot of fun at the table, though.
Yeah. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Bruno's great.
I remember reading a story about him. He used to play a lot before he became known for his talent. I remember he used to grind to the Commerce, I think it was, right?
Yeah, he used to play $5, $10 at the Commerce.
Mm.
Yeah.
He really loves the game, and he can bluff. He did big bluff on me. I caught him with a 2 flush. Well, I wasn't sure, and he said, "You're good." Yeah, I mean, he's a lot of fun at the table. That guy.
A lot of fun at the table.
Kevin, if people want more Kevin Hart in their life, I know you're working on a ton of projects, so let some people know what's coming out. I saw the audio book.
Yeah, I got my Audible original, The Decision, that's dropping May 21st. Excited as hell about that. Of course, plan to see me a lot, with Party Poker, on Party Poker, just doing more with them. As an actor, as a comedian, movies were coming out, productions were on the way, but as the rest of the world, all of that stuff is TBD now. So, the focus has been my Audible original, my streaming network, Laugh Out Loud, Fabletics, our men's line is doing well. Vita Hustle, my health and wellness product, is doing very well. Curing financial literacy in the Black community with Chase Financial, that's going great. Finding a way as a dad, as a husband, doing great, and trying to motivate and inspire the world as much as I possibly can. Trying to give some of this good energy I got to all. That's the goal.
Amazing. That's some options. And Rob Yong, thanks as always for everything you're doing for poker, moving us in the right direction. As a poker pro and content creator, I really appreciate it. Any parting words?
No, but I think Kevin just said it all there, and shows that Kevin's one of the most highest profile guys in the world, and he just loves the game and loves poker, and it just shows you that there's a good future for poker if we can get that energy out there and get more people who love the game like Kevin and obviously myself. So I think that's what poker should be about.
It's a great,
absolutely
great interview. I love it.
Cheers.
I love it.
Thank you guys very much. I've been sold. Kevin Hart, the poker player, is here to stay. I like it. So thanks so much to both of you for taking the time, and let's do it again in a couple of years and follow up.
Perfect,
Kevin,
man.
I hope I see you soon. Yeah.
We will, Rob. Let's just stay positive, man. You're the guy, my guy. All right.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.